Welcome in, everybody. Yes, it is that time again. Ritchie and Rob for the great folks at betPARX. My man, John Ritchie. I am Rob Ellis. John, good to see you, my friend. How we doing?
Great, Bert. Really great. We're undefeated.
Yes, 5-0, my friend. 5-0. And I think what we've seen the last couple of weeks, John, is the return to the passing game. And I thought Jalen moved as well as we've seen all year. Do you get that sense, too, from him? It was a little, I don't know if he was dealing with something we didn't know about, if there was just so much emphasis on be careful or whatever, but it felt like he let loose a little bit more last week against the Rams. Do you get that same vibe?
Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. Jalen cut it loose more than he has in any game this season, and that happened to coincide with the fact that everything else seemed to be working a little bit better too. You know, the pass protection was a little bit better. He was a little more comfortable in the pocket. I still think he's breaking it a little early occasionally, but that's about, the nitpicky. That's a little over the top nitpicky. Jalen is doing special things out there, keeping drives going. He's always so sensible. He's so smart. And now we're finally getting the explosive with that. We've been waiting for the explosive with that. And I think it was just a matter of trying to retool Jalen properly for the long haul. They harped all off season on, hey, we got to keep you healthy. And he's just trying to manage that in his mind. It was always in there. It was just a matter of Jalen accessing it.
Stay on the offensive side, John. We saw the return of Dallas Goedert, really. I mean, they tried to get him going previous weeks, and it just, for whatever reason, didn't work. But, man, that was full-fledged Goedert that we saw on Sunday against the Rams. Not only effective down the field, but breaking tackles. I mean, we know what a good blocker he is as well. But this was good to see. That there is a diversity on this offense.
Well, yeah, diversity between the wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae are so different from one another. So one specific type of cornerback is not going to do the job for both. Now you got Dallas Goedert, where no specific position of any nature is going to do the job on him because he is a mismatch nightmare. No matter, you're never going to be fast enough. You're never going to be big enough because he is more than enough of both. Just an absolute freak. And the way that they were able to feed him early, just dial him up in the first 15 plays, the scripted first 15 plays, write him into 4 of them and just make sure you get on the ball, because you see, he talked about it after the game. He appreciates the opportunity to get some touches early and get rolling.
But John, here's the thing. They're not, scoring wise for the season, certainly they're averaging actually a tad more than they did last year, believe it or not, but they're not cashing in the red zone. And that's been an issue for them. And they're ranking towards the bottom 5 here in that category. Can you put your finger on what it is? Is it play calling, execution? What do you think? What would you like to see differently?
Nick Sirianni says that this is stemming directly from first and second down, that we are not staying ahead of the sticks enough to be able to get to the plays we want to use in the red zone to be as effective as we want to be. Basically, getting behind in the down and distance. I do think it's a little bit circumstantial. It does get harder to score in the red zone. You've got that additional defender, and right now we're not operating at full force, full speed. Every week when teams in the NFL install the red zone plays, you install 25 yards and in, 20 yards and in. Here's our cluster of plays. 15 yards and in. Here's our cluster of plays. 10 yards and in. Here's our 5 plays for this week. The coaches are going to tweak that every week. They're going to add to that every week. They're going to experiment with that every week. What they've done thus far, it hasn't worked. Like 5 and in, 10 and in, 15 and in, it just hasn't been effective enough. So I'm positive that they're going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to draw up new plays, 5 and in, 10 and in, 15 and in, and they will be better. What we've done, it hasn't worked well enough. These coaches are creative. These players, they enjoy the wrinkles that the coaches put in every week. it will look different. It will be better.
And ironically enough, one of the big plays was in the red zone, end of the half. I think this flipped momentum on this game, John. They got a brotherly shove where they scored, which was I 100% agree with the play call, and they scored. They went 4 for 4 on that. A lot of discussion this week about, the legalization of it. And a lot of people I don't get it at all. I think it 100%, if it's in the rule book, who cares if it doesn't look pretty? Where do you fall on the brotherly shove tush push?
I mean, it doesn't matter whether we have people behind him pushing his butt or not. He's going to get a first down. And if they outlaw it, and I tend to think now that they're bringing health into it, hey, we're going to examine the health ramifications now that a couple Giants were injured on the tush push. I would imagine it's out the door next year. Mm-hmm. But we'll come up with something different. And it doesn't matter. They don't have quarterbacks who are as explosive and strong as Jalen, and centers and guards who are able to fire out with the intensity and the pad level that our Kelsey and Dickerson and Opeta, or Juergens for that matter, are able to do. We're just better up front than everyone else.
All right, lastly, on the defensive side, they pitch a shutout in the second half, John. And I know you pour over the film of each and every game. How big an impact did Bradley Roby have moving him into the slot? Did he have an impact in your estimation? And that lead to them having so much success? Because early it looked like this thing was going to be a shootout.
Early they were experimenting with Mario Goodrich and Eli Ricks, trying to find the right combination in that secondary. And second half, they came out with Bradley Roby manning the slot. And lo and behold, everything was better. And to be fair, Sean Desai, I think he was a little bit more aggressive in the second half. We started heating things up a little bit more, sending Bradley Roby at times. But you know how we like to send our linebackers. He did heat it up a little bit to make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable. But Bradley Roby is a guy who's had success in this league playing the nickel cornerback position, going back to 2014 out there in Denver. First-round draft pick. A highly, touted guy, and he made good in the league, and then he just sort of vanished for a little bit. I lost track of him. I'm glad he's here. He is what made the defense sort of find its balance. I really believe that. Bradley Roby is an experienced vet. He's able to communicate these calls. He came in 5 days and picked up the defense what he needs to do. That is a vet move. I really anticipate as he works himself into shape, because he's not even in shape yet, that he'll continue to improve. And I think Howie once again did something amazing. He found a ready-made slot cornerback out there.
Perfect. All right, John, don't go anywhere, by the way, because John and I, in a little bit, when we revisit you, will be previewing the Eagles and the Jets. But that's going to do it for us. For John Ritchie, I'm Rob Ellis. Thanks for hanging with us, Ritchie and Rob, for betPARX.